Now that the St. Louis Cardinals are relevant again in the National League, who on this roster is deserving of a spot on the All-Star team at this year's midseason classic?
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio and the podcast on X at LO_Cardinals. We're on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. Hit that notification button so you don't miss out on any of the episodes or the shorts that we have. Also available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. So now that the Cardinals are winning, Thomas Gauvain is back. He's a fair weather fan. I'm kidding. Life gets in the way of a lot of things. But Thomas Gauvain from RedwoodRants.com is back with us here today. Welcome back, Thomas. Hope all is well with you, sir.
Oh, yeah. It feels great to be back and talking some baseball again.
You're in Kansas City, for those of you who are just joining the show or maybe haven't seen an episode with you involved with it. So you're going to be at least one of the games at Kauffman over this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'll be there Sunday afternoon there for the day game with my family.
So that'll be fun. So hopefully you bring some good vibes with you as the Cardinals and the Royals. It is rivalry weekend in Major League Baseball. The I-70 series is what this one is called because of, the connection between the highways. And obviously it takes you back to 1985 when the Cardinals and the Royals played each other in the World Series, a World Series that Cardinal fans obviously still complain about to this day after the blown call at first base, which might have cost them the World Series. People forget there was still another game that the Royals beat the snot out of the Cardinals in that last game. So nobody talks about that on the St. Louis side. So we'll move on. Let's talk about the happy stuff that's going on with the Cardinals. Been one of the hottest teams in the league, winners of 9 of their last 10. They haven't lost a series going back to Atlanta. They lost 2 of 3 in Atlanta, April 21st through the 23rd. If you remember, that first game, they could have won that series because that first game they were winning going into the 8th inning, and they ended up giving up 5, one of the rare times that Phil Maton had a bad night. And they ended up giving up 5 in the 8th inning to lose that first game. But it's been a hell of a ride, Thomas, recently, and they are now 24-20. They're 1 game back of the Cubs in the division. Things have been going well, and that means players have been playing well, right? So here's the question I have. Is any of this enough to earn any all-star game votes? And that's what we're going to start with today. Each team gets a guy. You get a representative each year. So there will be at least one St. Louis Cardinal there, even if they lose every game the rest of the way. But who on this roster so far, starting right here? We're on May 16th, getting ready to start the series of Kansas City. Who on the roster do you feel is all-star worthy, or at least on pace to be all-star worthy to make an appearance at the game in Atlanta, in your opinion?
Pitchers are usually the most common player there. A lot of pitchers will sit out just to keep on a regular schedule, injuries, whatever, get some rest. So I went with Matthew Liberatore right off the bat. He is 16th. There you go, Libby. He's 16th in the National League in ERA at 3.11, but he's 4th in F-WAR, which is above Paul Skeens and a couple other big-name guys you think of first. He has the fewest walks among qualified National League starters. He has 5 quality starts. His strikeouts are in the top of the charts, but he's 1 start shy of everybody else. So he's really on a good track to get into some votes. It's kind of a popularity contest. His former top prospect status might help him boost that a little bit. He's starting to get a little bit more recognition nationally from the writers. So I think Libby would be an excellent representative for the Cardinals.
Yeah, I don't argue with you there whatsoever. Everything you said, especially with how like you said, the pitching, like a lot of guys, maybe it might not be their turn in the rotation, and they got to stay on pace for whatever is going to happen right after the All-Star game, so people bow out. But yeah, Libby has been on a heater, bro. And we talked a lot about this offseason about whether or not moving him from the bullpen to the rotation was the smartest thing to do for him and the Cardinals, and they were right. I mean, let's just say it. They were right. Everybody else was wrong. I was wrong because I was nervous about it. Let's just say it, man. They got it right. They did it right. They trusted them, and what their thoughts are on Libby and what they wanted him to be, and it has worked out beautifully for them. So I would love to see Libby at the All-Star game. And you can always tell, too, this is the nerd in me, the video game nerd in me, when they start popping out cards for you on MLB The Show. And Libby got a nice one recently. So people are starting to take notice about this guy. All right. Outside of the pitchers, who else you got on your list?
I think you and I both have this guy. He's a pretty obvious choice. It'd be Brendan Donovan. He's definitely been the team's most valuable player to start so far. He is first in F WAR among second basemen. He's a legitimate MVP candidate, too, for the whole league. I don't think he's going to win it, but he'll get top 10 votes, I'm sure, too. His slash line is ridiculous. His defense is really good at second base, too. There's really no other second baseman in the National League that rivals him, at least from a statistic standpoint. Once again, there's the popularity thing you have to include.
Sure.
But Brendan Donovan should be the starting second baseman for the National League.
Yeah, at this point in the season, hitting 313, 3 home runs, 20 RBIs. And this is after he, struggled a little bit. I know he had 3 hits in his last game, which, kind of hopefully got him back in his groove. But, he had slowed down quite a bit for most of the season, though. He was leading the National League in batting average. Not that far off, actually, anymore. Let's see, Freddie Freeman in first place. He's at 370, but he's only got 119 at bats so far. But, you got some big names up there. Machado, a lot of Dodgers here with Teoscar Hernandez.
No, Dodgers, no.
Yeah, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith. But again, Hernandez has been hurt. He's been out. Will Smith doesn't play every day, only 111 at bats, where you got Donnie over here with 163 plate appearances. CJ Abrams has gotten, hot recently, but Donnie's right there with these guys, and I know nationally he probably doesn't get recognized for how good he's been, but you see it and how important he is. I mean, he's the number 3 hole hitter for the St. Louis Cardinals right now. So obviously he's a big piece of the puzzle for them. Willson Contreras on your list here, I'm seeing as well. Thomas, what about Willie's got you excited?
And it starts with his bat. He's got a 115 WRC plus, 6 home runs, 25 ribbies. But his defense is really what has surprised me the most this year at first base. He's, regardless of the metric, as above average, defensive runs saved. He's plus in everything that you see. He's third in F WAR among first basemen. The only problem is that the 2 people above him are ridiculously good, and Pete Alonso and Freddie Freeman. And then you've also got Bryce Harper there. Philly always shows up for votes. Bryce Harper's he's a big name in the league. So I don't know if Contreras makes the cut, but he's been worthy as far as performance goes of at least being recognized.
The one thing I've seen about Contreras, and I knew it was going to probably be a little bit difficult for him, is just throwing the ball from first base. Not like the toss to first to a pitch or anything, but it's that making that throw to second base. He plunks that runner all the time, and I would
too.
I know it's a tough throw. Like, where do you go? Like, the guy's right there, the base.
Lob it over him.
Yeah, he's trying to hit the guy in the chest who's covered second base. So where am I supposed to go with this thing? So I get the struggles there and totally understand that. But yeah, he's been very impressive over there, not only defensively, but with the stretches that he's been making, the picks he's making over there too. It's been quite impressive. Both of us got this guy on our list, Victor Scott II. Surprising a lot of people how good he's been so far, but all-star worthy. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. Center fielders in the National League, he's 5th in F WAR. He's a plus offensive hitter. His defense is second best in the National League behind Pete Crow Armstrong. Andy Pages for the Dodgers will probably complicate some votes. Los Angeles is a massive city. Pages is not known nationally, but Los Angeles is a big enough city by itself that it doesn't matter whether he's known. But Scott has been an all-star worthy candidate as well. Whether he gets in or not, I can't quite be certain, but he's definitely played up to that level.
Yeah, the way that PCA is playing for the Cubbies so far, it's going to make it real tough for him. But maybe as somebody who comes on as a reserve. I mean, those 13 stolen bases are no joke. That's 4th in all of baseball and stolen bases so far. And I feel like he hasn't even been running that much yet. So we'll see if he can really get things cooking. I mean, obviously he gets on and you got nude up, so you're not trying to hit into outs or anything. So I kind of get it, but at the same time, like, I would love to see him run just a little bit more. That would be great. Some other names on our list here. Ivan Herrera is a guy. Obviously, he's been huge. He's been hurt. But those numbers, hard to argue with them. So if he keeps it up, it's going to be difficult not to talk about him. Mason Wynn is another guy that I want to bring up real quick, just because since that horrible start to the season when he's over 20 and some fans wanted to send him back down, He's been hitting like 333. Like, he's been outstanding. Obviously, the defense has been there. You saw that last year, so that's a big deal. And then you mentioned pitchers as well. Kyle Leahy, as somebody that the managers and coaches to bring onto the roster as a reliever. Obviously, I mean, hard to argue with a 1.09 ERA so far this year. He's been outstanding. He's not the flashy guy, so I don't know if because he doesn't throw 107, if they'll even talk about him. But either way, a lot of guys worthy of discussion going against them, the size of the Cardinals market in St. Louis, and just people not being into them so far this year. So, but obviously they got to keep it up if they want to get to Atlanta this year. The team's been a whole lot of fun to watch, though, as a whole, which has been great. I think that's the most important thing, is together they've been outstanding for a number of different reasons. We're going to run down some of our favorite things about this team coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades. Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, it's HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. They're easy-to-use websites packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you're going to find exactly what you need. It's going to get delivered to you fast, coast to coast, so it doesn't matter where you are in the U.S., they'll get it to you. Need help with an order? It does happen. Supply House offers you expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person, which is, you've been on the phone trying to get help with something. It's press this button, do this, do that. No, real people talking to you at Supply House. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line. You get free shipping and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Your feedback is always welcome and encouraged. Thomas Covain from RedbirdRants.com joining us here today. All right, we've run through a number of different guys who are all-star worthy, at least in our eyes. It's going to be difficult. You mentioned all of these big names in bigger cities and stuff, so let's not try to get our butts hurt if it's only one or two dudes get into the All-Star game, despite the Cardinals possibly having one of the better records in the National League. Most important thing is winning. That's all we care about in St. Louis. Win, just keep doing it. And there's been a lot of different things about this team that have allowed them to become as good as they have been over this recent stretch. They played a lot better in the last few weeks, so I don't want to be totally just focused on what's happened in the last 10 games, because we had a whole season before that where people were like, this team sucks, they're terrible at this, and they were going crazy. But I feel like it's been an entertaining team since day one. I've enjoyed pretty much every game. Yeah, some of the losses were tough, but they're winning more games now than they are losing, which is huge. What about this team, Thomas, stands out to you that has helped facilitate this massive turnaround that we've seen over the last 2 weeks?
For me, it's been the defense. Just to run through a whole bunch of stats here really quickly. Sorry to bore some people. They're first in outs above average. They're Houston is in second place with 18. Cardinals have 24, so that's a huge gap. They're seventh in defensive run save. They're tied for first in fielding percentage. They have the most assists, the second fewest errors. Everywhere you look, the defense has been ridiculously solid. I looked a little bit further for just the position, each player at each position. Only 3 players are negative at a position that they've played so far this year. Brendan Donovan is negative in left field with 88 innings played, according to outs above average. Alec Burleson is negative in right field with only 8 innings played, and then Thomas JC is negative at second base with 35 innings. So, not a lot of time logged there, and they're only barely negative defense. Every other position that any other player has played is either 0, neutral, or positive at defense. It starts with Mason Wynn, Nolan Arenado, and Victor Scott II. And those 3 have been leading the charge. It's just spread to the other. I mean, across the board, it's positive defenders in pretty much every spot of the lineup.
Yeah, and I know people are going to climb all over me for saying this, but let's give Jordan Walker credit. What he's doing in right field is a massive improvement over what we saw in his first 2 seasons trying to play the outfield. And I'm not talking about his hitting, okay? Don't start jumping on me because he's not doing all the things you want him to do offensively. I know that. We know that. He knows that's been a problem, okay? They're working on it, all right? But what
he was brought in as a defensive replacement the other day for Burleson.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like they don't have to take him out of the game anymore. So
yeah,
that was kind of when the Michael Ciani move was made, and they put him back into AAA because they didn't need him anymore. Like we don't need to sub out Jordan Walker anymore. We're comfortable with him in right field. And he's been part of this. Like he's played really, really good out there. And like you mentioned in the first segment with Willson Contreras' defense, didn't really know how that was going to go. Yeah. Was he going to be able to pull it off? He's been outstanding over at first base. And then you got the stalwarts that you mentioned with the Mason Wynn. And now with Donovan being able to play more second base than left field, you're very strong up the middle with Victor and Mason, and with Victor in center field and Donovan at second, and then with Pages behind the plate more times than not. And they'll always tell you, like fans of old teams of the Cardinals, why were they good? And they're like, they were very strong up the middle. And that's something that this team has right now. Yeah. I want to throw this one at you. Pitching obviously has been a big deal. The starting pitching in particular has been really, really good. Sonny Gray was terrible in Philly. We get that. But so far, so good for more times than not. Everybody's going to have a blow-up game from time to time. Our boy Miles Michaelis has turned things around tremendously since his big bad game in Boston. I would assume that Sonny will bounce back from his bad game in Philly. Eric Fetty's had a couple of bad games, sure, but for the most part, he's been outstanding. He's got a scoreless streak right now that's been really, really good. So I've been very impressed with what the starting pitching's been able to do. Palante still kind of working through some things, but obviously Liberatore has been a monster since coming into the rotation as well. So a lot of credit to those guys. What's another thing on your list that's helped this team turn things around that's impressed you this year?
Just how pesky they are. The on-base percentage is one of the best in the league. They're seeing a whole bunch of pitches per plate appearance. Mm-hmm. They're putting pressure on the other team by just putting the ball in play. It's just probably a nuisance to opposing teams, and that's not something we could have said in the past. I was talking to my dad this morning as well. When they went down 5-1 against the Phillies in the second game of the doubleheader, 23 and 24 Cardinals, I would have just turned off the TV, thrown in the towel. Yeah. But this team, they fought back. They came at 14-7 victory after that. Like there's just something about them that feels a little bit different. I think it's that attitude, that peskiness that they didn't quite have the last few years.
Yeah, and I brought this up in yesterday's episode, though, and it's so little, but when you're a baseball dork, it stands out to you because the 2 appearances by Nolan Arenado hitting the ball the other way, ground balls to the right side of the infield to move runners over and move a guy in, that is so huge in those positions because over the years, we're used to seeing in those spots, and it's not just Arenado, but just Cardinal hitters in general, just trying to hit the hell out of the ball. Just swing away, just crush it, see what you can do, put one over the wall for us. And then it would end up with a strikeout, or he would pull the ball to the left side of the infield, and it doesn't get anything done, and it was like, you know what, he's accepted it. And a lot of these guys have that there's a job to do when they come up to the plate. It's not just try to hit the ball as hard as you can. Do something with the ball, have a plan. And you can tell both at bats, Nato was like, I'm just going to try to get it over there. If I get something sweet, cool, I'll go for it. But I'm just going to try to do this. And he got the job done twice in the first couple innings there, and it helped turn that game around. And it's little stuff like that. Just putting the ball in play has been something that I've been impressed with. The strikeout percentage going down, down, down. And you're always going to see strikeouts. There's so many good pitchers in this league, and you're going to have frustrating at-bats where guys strike out. Willson Contreras obviously had a lot of those early on in the season, but for the most part, you're seeing them put it in play and make the other team field it and make the plays to beat them instead of it just being like, you're out, you're not going to, you got to put pressure, like you mentioned, put pressure on the other team, put the ball in play. Another thing that stood out to me, what do you feel about the team energy that's going on with this team? Clearly winning helps, like everybody's happier when they're winning, but at the same time, because of the youthfulness of this team, I feel like a lot of the energy, instead of trying to get it from veterans, it's coming from the younger guys, and then, it's going to Willson and going to Nolan Arenado, and they just seem like they got a whole lot more life on the bench and in the games because of some of the young guys that are around them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree. Katie Wu had a quote from Nolan Arenado recently about how it's just more exciting, and he comes to the stadium energized more now. I think that's been infectious. It starts with the young guys, like you said. You've got Mason Wynn, Victor Scott II, even Jordan Walker, Lars Nootbaar, and then Pedro Bajes are just the goofballs of the team. So it feels as though everything's a lot different in the clubhouse this year, and it's infectious to everybody else too.
Yeah. When you play tight, it's like you're not playing a game anymore. It's just business, it's work, and it's not a fun way to go about things. And I've had that complaint about the Cardinals for a number of different years where I'm like, you guys need to relax a little bit. It looks like for a number of years, like Nootbaar was the only person having fun. He was the only guy that was playing it like he was a kid still. Everybody else everything was just so serious and tense. And I never enjoyed that. I was like, we're such a boring team to watch. This year, it is not boring at all. Like there's excitement, there's energy. They've got some cockiness. They got a little vibe to them, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yep. Yeah.
All right, coming up. No team is perfect. All of these good things that we mentioned, not everybody's perfect. There's going to be warts on every team. So what are some things the Cardinals can improve on to keep things moving in the right direction? We'll talk about those things next on Locked On Cardinals. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen. Today, for your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. The great Thomas Gauvain from RedbirdRants.com joining us here today, talking some Cardinals baseball as they get ready to start a weekend series in Kansas City. They come off the big series win over the Philadelphia Phillies, where they just annihilate Aaron Nola and that Philly staff. I don't think Philly knew what hit them. Like they were just in shock watching the ball continue to fly around the yard. Coming into a series against Kansas City, where Kansas City's playing very, very well. They've got some good things going. A great pitching staff. Obviously, Bobby Witt Jr. is a big deal there. So the Cardinals they're not a perfect team by any means. No team is, but they've won a lot recently. But let's not forget about the journey it took to get to this point. There was a lot of things that they had to work through in that first month of the season, and to maintain what they've been doing, it won't be so easy. So where on this roster, Thomas, do you see a need for improvements, or at least what part of their game do you feel needs some work?
Yeah, it's the second part of your question there for me, and it leans into the energy around the team. I think that they could improve their base running a little bit more. They're 20th in steals right now in the league. Their average team sprint speed is 28th in the league. Mind you, there's only 30 teams, and I'm pretty sure that they are the same sprint speed as the last place team. So they're not the fastest. They're not using their speed too much. There are some other underlying metrics that point to them being speedier. I think you and I talked about this stat last year. There's something called bolts. Don't even ask me what it means, but I know they're 8th in it, which feels good for some reason. They're 10th in base running runs, according to Baseball Savant. They've got 5 players who are all above average in sprint speed, and they're regulars. It's Scott, Walker, Sajacy, who could be a regular if he comes back up, Mason Wynn, and then Nootbaar are all above average runners. They're some of the best hitters on the team right now, too, so they're getting on base. I just feel like there could be more base running push, especially as they play some teams in some hitter-friendly parks like Kauffman, like Busch Stadium, where they're at home. Like, get on base and then use your speed and take advantage of the lack of power in these stadiums.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that Major League Baseball wants them to do, because that's why they made things a little bit easier for base runners to run. Like, where would they be on these lists without Victor Scott doing what he's doing?
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, I would love to see him run more. There are some at-bats where I'm just like, why isn't he taking off yet? Like, go, just.
I know, yeah. Mason Wynn, I really think they need to lean in. I don't know if it is injuries there are holding him back, or if there's a worry with his backside. But I feel like Wynn could be doing just a couple more stolen bases, a little bit more challenging on the base paths. I mean, we saw Scott go first to home twice in a game. I don't think we've ever seen Mason Wynn go first to home since he's called up. So.
I don't recall anything like that now. Yeah, I don't know. And Jordan Walker obviously could run more if he ever gets on base. That's his problem, is like get him on first in the first place. But obviously he's very fast. He's a big man who's got a lot of speed. You see him use it in the outfield all the time. So hopefully at some point things will start to work out for him consistently at the plate. That way he can maybe show that off. But yeah, I'm in agreement with you completely. It's part of the game. It's one of the more entertaining parts of watching a Major League Baseball game. Even teams that aren't that good, like you saw the Pirates early on when they were playing okay. They were doing a lot of running when they were on the base pass, and it was helping them out. It's being aggressive and making the other team make mistakes, trying to get you out, and sure, there's going to be times where you get thrown out and you're going to be like, that sucks. But, being that team that always has the threat of running is really what I want to say. The threat of going and taking that extra base from because it's a nuisance if you're a pitcher on the mound, but if you're not worried about them going anywhere, it really kind of takes the pressure off you. You don't have to worry about that so much. You're not worried about pitch outs. You're not worried about location, about not spiking the ball in the dirt. There's so many things that go into it when you got somebody who can steal a base on first or second. So certainly something that sure we should work on. I would say this about the base running though, since that terrible out at home plate in that Pittsburgh series, I feel like as far as the aggressiveness on the base pass, after a base hit and running, I feel like they've been way better. Like they taking those extra bases in that game against Philly to get that whole to get that rally going in that inning where it was the base hit and Newton Mason took second and third on the base hit. That was huge, and so I've seen a lot of improvements there, and I want to see more of that. My one spot that I want to bring up, and I don't mean to make it personal, but Ryan Helsley, bro, can you please not give us all a heart attack every time you come in the game? Like, why does it feel like when he steps in that this is something's going to happen? It's going to go sideways almost every time he's in the game. Walk or a base hit, like he's got to have somebody on base to get through it. Like, what is the deal, Thomas?
I don't think he's had a clean inning, has he? No one on base. I know it's tough to do. His whip is 1.53, so clearly he's getting people on base, almost 2 per outing. I'd love a nice, easy, restful 9th inning every once in a while.
Yeah. The other night, I think the game against the Phillies, that first win, he struck out the first 2, and then the nice play by Walker running in was to catch the bloop by Trey Turner. I think that was a clean inning, if memory serves.
Okay.
But that's very rare, and even then you were like, like it almost it almost got away from him on that blue pit. So I don't know what it is. I feel like sometimes he's not trusting his fastball. Like it feels like when he throws it a couple of times, and then if he doesn't have it, it's all sliders after that. And so sometimes I feel like that's a problem.
I love when he pulls out a curveball out of nowhere. His curveballs look nice, and he only uses it a few. His 12-6 is beautiful when he's got it. And I don't know, that's the only thing I worry about. It's obviously I'm being very picky here, but it's just like, if I just want to be able to trust him, I want to be able to come in, and I know he's not going to save them all. I get it. Even the best get hit, like Suarez for the Padres the other day got, all of a sudden he got wild and things happen. But like, I just want to trust him more. I just want to see him do it a little bit easier and take make it a little more relaxing for everybody when we get to the 9th, because everybody else leading up to 9, at least recently, has been incredible. It seems like Ollie finally found that path to get to Helsley. And now we just need Helsley to be the guy that you saw more times than not last year. So that's just me. But if you guys have any suggestions on things you want the Cardinals to improve on, and just don't say Gorman and Walker over and over. Like, we get it. They know that. They're trying to get them turned around. They're working on it. All right. But if there's something else other than them two that you want the team to improve on, what are some of your favorite things about the Cardinals so far this season? And who do you think is all-star worthy? Let us know in the comments section. Obviously, you can hit Thomas up on X. He's at Thomas Govain. And obviously, you can find me at Locked On Cardinals, LO_Cardinals, and a JD Sports Radio. We want to thank you guys for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Hit us up on TikTok, Instagram. You can find us on YouTube as well. Like, subscribe, and comment. And hit that notification button so you don't miss out on everything. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. We will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals. Great to see you again, Thomas. Thanks for coming in, bud. Oh, yeah. Good to be back. Thank you, JD.